Ben, in our artificial intelligence project management framework, we mention the need for phase gates between the different stages of the project. How would you go about defining this?
So I think that the best possible way to do that is through a risk analysis at each point, right? So one of the big reasons that you want to do that is you want to be able to discover emerging risks while you're moving through the project and to be able to go back and rethink the previous stage before allowing something to move from one environment to the next or one approval into the next. It's a reduction of financial risk practice. I think there's a lot of control frameworks out there that are easily available where you can say, this is my big list of things that we protect every project against. I don't believe that that's an efficient way to work with AI. I think it slows down the to-market process significantly. I prefer a risk management approach where you would take the most important categories: ethics, safety, security, and regulatory compliance. Bring in an expert or subject matter expert in each of those fields that's aware of the particular use case of the technology. Take those requirements that you've decided early on in the design and discovery phase for the project, and you'll evaluate those at each individual phase of the development to ensure that you understand the risks of each in the actual application, where it is being used, how it is being used, and create those compensating controls for each individual one. Now, there should be a good process to go through that risk analysis. How would you go about that, Bobby?
So if we take what you were just describing and apply it to the context of responsible artificial intelligence, we need to have a whole process that starts with defining specific criteria that we will evaluate all of these requirements against. And the criteria can go from fairness, accountability, transparency, but also safety, security, privacy, etc. We evaluate them and we define specific risk areas, and this can go from the technical side, the algorithms, the data, but also the processes that we use in the development, or even the design and the context and domain area, etc. And once we define this, we move to risk analysis.
Yeah, so then you would have all the criteria necessary to understand what it is that you're working with. So you go into a detailed risk analysis where you're going through and discovering what each actual risk is. You're doing your due diligence, you're getting that recorded and documented and properly ready for whatever type of audit would be necessary at the end of the development. And you'd be able to go into actual risk mitigation stages where you're creating those compensating controls or those new requirements for the project that are designed to be tested, verified, and validated. Again, proofing due diligence, proving that it does not do the thing that would be a risk or contain any information or behaviors that it shouldn't have.
Then we take all these parts, put them together, and we have this iterative process that can be applied at each phase gate.